Okay, in this video I'm going to show a little example of how I created this map animation with a truck right here, and then 42 to 17, and then the map. So when it goes forward, the truck goes along the path, and then this little red line follows behind it. And this is a 5-second animation, and everything happens at about 3 seconds, and then it stops, and then for the last 2 seconds it just has this trail that animates, just to kind of show that that was where we went in the campground. So I'm just going to show how I made this. Here is all of the components of this particular one. I have one for each. I have a truck animation for each section, and then I have a red trail animation for each section. So if I turn all of these on, you'll see I have all these different animations that are set up. If I play them all at the same time, it'll look pretty wild, but that's basically how that works. So I'm just going to show how I created all this, how I created the composition, and then how I brought the items into the project. Okay, so let's first of all start off with a new composition. We're going to start off with a new composition. This is, we're going to try this teach map animation. And it's a 4K, and it's a 5-second with a gray background. Okay, so here's our new composition. It's a blank composition. Now, to get all the components over here to the left, you basically just drop them in from over here. So for instance, I've got my, let's bring this over here so you can see it, because you can't see it unless I bring it over here. Oops, let's bring that over here for some reason. Okay, so in this folder I've got these 3 components. So we bring in this, okay, bring in these 2, truck and the 5th wheel, and you can see, so now I have my map, the truck, and the 5th wheel. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my map. Okay, let's just turn that off for now, and let's bring this lighter one, bring this brighter one down instead. Yeah, I like that much better. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it and zoom it in. So the easiest way to do this is to kind of pan back a little bit, grab one of the corners, hit shift, and grab the corner first, hit shift, and then drag out. Okay, we're going to make it maybe about that big. We're going to adjust it just with the left click, and then we're going to hit enter. Okay, we can make sure we go back over here. And what I want to do, we've got to make sure up here that sometimes it switches to that layer composition and not to the whole composition. So if something goes wonky, look back over here, go up top, and look back to make sure you're on the composition. Okay, so that's where I want that. I'm going to lock that right there, because I don't want to be able to go in here and click it and be able to move it around. Okay, so now that I have the map in there, let's zoom into the map a little bit. And let's say I want to, okay, let's hand drag it, just get it to the middle. Let's say I want to create a path all the way around the campground here. So when I'm in this composition, the easiest way is to go layer, new layer, and then hit a shape layer, and then I can create, this is a little bit more control, because then I go in here and I can hit my pen tool and create a shape layer by clicking on the pen, which is right here, and then I can create a layer. Or you can just grab your pen tool, have that closed, and be in here, and then when you hit this, it creates a new shape layer. So you can see over here we have a new shape layer. So for right now we'll just do that, and we're going to hit Control Z because I don't want that particular mark, and then we're going to create a path through the campground here. The easiest way to do it is you click, and then to the next one you click, and then you drag in the direction of that path. So I'm going to be right in the direction. Now, what the best way to do is to zoom in while you're doing it. So I go to the next one, and I drag that little line right in line with where I want to go. So that way you're right in the middle. And now for this one, I see I can curve it like this and kind of make that curve a little bit. Right? Go to the next one. Puts a little curve in there. And just keep, oops. You just keep doing that. If you don't drag the line out in front, it starts to do wonky stuff. So you gotta be really careful to drag in the middle, and then drag the line up to, and then look back behind you to see if the line is going the way you want it to. Go like that, go like that. See there, I have to like stretch it out a little bit to make that curve, to match that curve. And I kind of go like that, okay. So this is the easiest way to do it, but what I'll do is I'm just going to go and do this quickly. So you go like that. You can use fewer points, but I always find it's better to have more points than fewer points. Because later on, oops, Control Z, if you miss a point, just hit Control Z and it goes back. See, I don't like the way that did kind of a wonky curve there, so I'm going to drag that out a little bit. You can always drag them as you're doing it, and it will let you reshape the line. Keep doing it in. You can see if I was zoomed in better, you'll see later on we can go and we can, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have it like it goes outside the campground and kind of goes around this dump station line. Okay, keep going. Okay, so I got my basic line. I can go back with the pen tool. I can zoom in, and I can kind of go in here and move it around where I want it. I can take these little Bezier curve things and adjust it. I'm not sure why it does that. I think this means rasterize or something. Okay. For some reason it does that, but that's okay. So I'm going to click back on my shape layer here. So you have to go over here, make sure your shape layer is selected, and then I can go and tweak. Let's go and straighten this up a little bit. See, this is like, I don't like this. So click on the line, and then I can kind of curve it the way exactly I want. It does this weird rasterizing thing, which I don't like, but if you hold still for a second, it kind of cleans up. Same thing with this one. Okay, good. Okay, now this is a little wonky, right? You can see where I can twist these around a little bit and straighten that out a little bit. Drag that out here. Kind of make that curve a little bit. Yeah, I like that better. Kind of good. Okay, you can just drag these little points around. Get them exactly where we want, and then you can grab the Bezier and move the Bezier exactly the way you want. Okay. That moves the whole line there. Okay, Control Z there. Go back in here to contents. Go to our shape. Go to our path, and that will highlight the path again. I must have double clicked it and done something weird, but that's how you go back to the path. Okay, so we got our line right now. Okay. So now that we have our path, and we're actually going to name that. To name it, you hit enter, and then you click it and then hit enter, and then we're going to call this road path. Okay, so now we got our road path, and that's our first shape layer at the top there, and that is over top. If I put this, if I drag this, and I drag it down below the campground, it's the stroke that it creates is invisible. You can still see the path on top. I'm going to hit Control Z and put that back up there, and you'll see if you dig into the shape right here, that it's a path and there's a stroke. So we have a stroke in here. Right now we don't have any dashes or anything like that. But you can see as I was creating the line, because I had the pen tool, when I created a, I'll go back to the pen tool and I'll create another line just to show you. If I create a line here, it's choosing this stroke. Right now there's zero fill, so we have fill turned off. It's creating this stroke, red stroke, and then the stroke path width is 30 right now. So if I create a line right here, and right now I have fill on, so I make sure I turn fill off. Oops, sorry, cancel. And we're going to turn fill. We're going to click on the fill right beside it. We're going to turn fill off. And we could do the same thing with stroke. You can turn stroke on and off. You can do solid color. You can do all kinds of stuff with your stroke. Radial gradient. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with your stroke, but we're not going to do any of that. We're doing solid color. Okay. So right now, let's get rid of this shape path 3 because I don't need that. We go back to the road. Okay, and then we got our. We're going to go first of all and show how we can change the and add dashes to the line. Okay, so we have our path right here, and what we're going to do first of all is we are going to add some dashes. So first of all, if I want to do a stroke and I'm going to put rounded butts on it, I got to make round cap. I got to put a round join, and then we get dashes. I can add 1 and we hit 2, so that if you hit 2 then gap comes up, and I'm going to put gap at like let's say 30. And if you look at let's zoom into the line right here, and what you're seeing when I change that gap, it changes the gap between the dashes, right? And then if I do round join, if I go to miter, it'll change the line. So that's butt cap, round cap, projecting line, but I usually do round cap. So, and then by changing gap, changes the gap between the dots. Okay. So we've got that. So right now, if we zoom out, that's just our regular dotted line. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to have one section of this line come up at a time, but we have to do that by using trim paths. So we hit add, and I go to trim paths, and path and trim path. So that this path is going to affect all the strokes below, anything below this on this path right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to start. We're going to hit the little timer on start and stop. These are for to put in. Oops, I want to Z that. I want to make sure I'm at my 0 before I do that. We hit start and end. It starts the keyframes there. And what I want to do is both start off at 0, which that means that there'll be no line at the 0% mark and at the end mark. So let's say, for instance, I wanted the line to go up to number 40 right here. So I want the line to slowly move up. So I'm going to move up to the end line, go down here. If I just do it right here, you'll see, just to show you, that goes up to 40. So it looks like 24% goes up to 40, right? But I don't want it to do it there. I'm going to go ahead in time. I'm going to go to 3 seconds. And at the 3 second mark, I want it to, in the first 3 seconds, I want it to go from 0 shoop, all the way down to 41. Why do I do that now is I move that down here to 40, which should be like 24%, 25%. That's good. Okay, now if you look at the marker now, it goes from 0 to 40%, to site 40, which is 24%. You can see the numbers changing over here. When I scroll that, it goes from 0 to 40. Okay, so it gets a little trickier. Let's say I want to go from, let's turn this one off. Let's first of all, let's do this. So right now we got that's shape 1 in there. Okay, under road path, and let's say I want to create another. I want to do another one. But what I would do is I would hit Control D, that creates a copy of that one. We're going to turn off 1. I'm going to go back here. Now we got this path, right? We got the stroke, we got all that. We can hit U, and that brings up everything in that road path. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill back down again, contents, shape 3, and we're going to go trim paths. So right now it's a copy of the last one, right? Which is starts at 0 and then goes up to there. But I don't want that this time. So I'm going to go back to 0. I'm going to turn off my keyframe timers. So now there's nothing. And I want the same path. Because I duplicated it, it's just like the first path. Because I duplicated it, it is going to go where I want it to. So at the 0, I want to start. Let's say I want to start at 50. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the start. Run up to start. 50. Right, just maybe a little bit longer. So that's 23%. It's 20. Looks like that's 25%. We're going to start at 25%. It means I want the end also to start at 25%. So we can just type in 25 there. So right now they're both going to start and end right there. For some reason this went to 0. Okay. So they're both going to start and stop. Let's move this in a little bit. At that point right there. So what I do now is I hit my start and stop. So I want to start both of them here at the 25%. But at 3 seconds, at the 3-second mark, I want to go over here to 66. So now I'm going to hit the end. I want the end to be over at 66, which is, let's say, right there. Okay, which is 34%. So you'll see now it starts here at 50, goes down here, and by the 3-second mark it's at 66, and then it just stays there. Okay, so then we've got our marker for that. Okay, we can close that. And so we can just keep duplicating and doing that. We're using the same path and we're just copying it each time, even though this is the same path. If I turn on one of the other ones, you can turn them on like that. Now the other way to do it is to copy the entire road path. So here I'd highlight a road path and then I hit Control D. Now I got road path 2. Instead of duplicating the shape within each one of these layers, I would create a whole new layer, a copy of the whole new layer, and go from there. So road path 2, let's say we're going to do a new layer. So we could use road path 2. Did you need to talk to me? No. In road path 2, we can go ahead and do the same thing. We can turn off road path 1. And road path 2, if we drill down and turn everything back on again, let's see, it's turn on shape 2, shape 3, and there we go. I guess that's shape 3, isn't it? Yeah, shape 3. Okay, there we go. Okay. So the one other cool thing that I like to do is once it does its thing and it gets to 3 seconds and it basically just stays there, I'd like to create some animation in the line while it's moving. And the way you do that is you go down here to our path, or down to our stroke, and we go down to dashes, taper, wave, fill. We go down to offset. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change my offset on my dashes to 0. Actually, let's make that 100. That's okay. And then we're going to turn on our timer. I'm going to go down here. Instead of going here, we're actually going to go all the way to the 5-second mark. And then we're going to change this to 0. Let's just type in 0. Okay. So now you'll see when I hit start again, see how the line is moving? and it continues to move until after it'll stop going forward, but the line continues to still have some animation to it. And you know, you can add some effects to this. One of the things I like to do is add wave, and it kind of does this weird wavy thing where the dots change size. They go from small to large and large to small. So that's the other thing you can do. So, and that does that throughout the entire animation. But you can play with this and do all kinds of cool stuff with this line animation. Okay, so now we have our animated line, and that's road path 2, and it does this cool thing. But remember, if I go back now to if I turn this one off and I go back to road path 1, and I turn on shape 3, okay, so road path 1 is just a normal one. Over to road path 2, road path 2, shape 3 is this one. So I'm going to turn that one off, turn this one on. So you can just work with one at a time. You just turn them off. You just keep copying them and turn them on and off. So we'll turn this one back on again. Okay, so the other cool thing I want to do is when this takes off and starts headed down there, I want a little truck to be at the end, at the front of the line right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my truck alone, which is up here. You can see up here what it looks like. If I double click it, it'll bring it up in here so you can see it good. But you got to make sure you come back over here to click on your compositions. We're going to drag it down here. I want it to be on top, so we're going to be on the top level. And here's my truck, but I'm going to have to obviously make it small, right? So what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it down. I think I usually there's like 18%. What was it doing? Oh, it's downsizing the truck. So right now we're going to put that down to 18, and that makes my truck nice and small here, and we can just drag it around it where I want it. But obviously I don't want it to go in that direction right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to I'm going to right click on here, go to transform, and I'm going to flip horizontally. Now he's going the right way. Okay, good. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so I want to animate this truck, and I want to animate it on that same line as my path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to there's the truck, here's my road path, here's my shape 3. I'm going to go down to that path, to path 1, and I see how I selected that path. I'm going to hit right, and I'm going to hit oops, I'm going to hit Control C to copy that, and then I'm going to go up to the truck layer, go to position, and I'm going to go Control V. And what that'll do is that'll create, see there's the truck, but it's putting it way at the beginning of the line. See that? Let's zoom out a little bit here. It moved it. Let's see if you can see this, all the way to the front of that path, because I attached it to that path and it moved it all the way to the front. So what I want to do with the truck, first of all, before I do anything else, I want the truck to, if you watch this truck, it doesn't, kind of does this weird kind of thing where let's drag this out first of all. So what you can do is you can drag the path out so it goes over the entire track. It goes a little slower. But see how like the truck is flat the whole time? It doesn't like, it's not following the rhythm of the line right here, and I want it to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my truck. I'm going to go up to transform, and I'm going to hit auto orient. I click on orient along path. Okay, so the weird thing is that what it does, it puts the truck upside down, which is in backwards, which I don't want, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the truck again here. I'm going to go transform, and I want it to go in let's get it back up to the top. So I want it to go in that direction. So I want it to go from here to here. So I have to reorient the truck, transform, and I'm going to flip vertical, and then I'm going to also flip horizontal. And we'll go transform and flip horizontal. Okay, so now he's going in the right way. Okay, so now let's see. He's going now. At least you see how he's following the path now. He's like, oh, I'm cruising down the road. I'm going over the hill, and that's what I want. But I want him to start here where the line starts. So what I'm going to do is figure out where that starts, and it looks like he starts there. Starts about there, right about there, I guess. Okay, but I want that to be at that point, right? So what I've got to do is I want to create a key position where he is right now in this line. See, it's created all these keyframes for me. So I'm going to click a point right here on position. It's going to create a point right there. And I'm going to delete all these other ones. Oops. Stop playing, please. And delete. And drag this up here to number 1 spot. And it looks like he's right there. Okay, good. And let's see. Does this weird thing right there. Okay, so he's going to go from here, and I want him to go all the way down to here. Okay, so again, I'm going to create another anchor point there. Okay, it does this weird thing right there. I don't like that. Okay, let's drag this to the middle. And then we're going to delete all those, because I only want to go to that point, right? So let's see here. So let's scroll back on my timeline here from there to there, but I wanted to stop at the 3-second mark. So now I drag this out here to the 3-second mark, and it should roughly follow when the line is going. It's a little bit ahead, but it's almost there. I actually want the truck to be a little bit ahead. Let's do that. Let's delete that one. And then we're going to take this. We're going to move this up here. Okay, there we go. So now it goes ahead of the line, and the truck cruises along, but it's not going far enough. Move it down here like that. Best thing to do is just grab the anchor point and move it to where you want. And see now it kind of goes exactly where I want it. Boom. Okay, so let's play that over again. So we start at the beginning. He takes off, and he follows the line, and he stops at the end. He kind of moves a little fast at the end because I didn't move those animation points perfect. But you can see the motion there. Because what happens is he gets all the way to here, and then when it jumps from here to there is very quick. So what I could do is actually just drag this back a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Drag this one back. I'll put that one up there. You basically just adjust the smoothness now. There you go, perfect. Okay, so now we have our truck going down the line, and he's moving. Now, the other thing you could do besides this is, okay, in this one, I'm going to show how I created this map animation, where I show this map animation where the line goes from Floridian RV to 1 to 2, goes to all the different places that we went on our trip to Utah, ending with number 10. And what it does, each one of these is a separate thing. So we have the map line, which is one shape layer that's created by the pen tool in a stroke. And then we got the dots, and then we got the numbers. And the way that all shows up, and what I'm going to do is show you one at a time. So here's the map line I created down here. And what the map line is basically a just a path. And we're going to go to shape, and we're going to go to path, and we click on this path. You can see, oops, let's go to here. Okay, let's go to path. Oh, it's locked. Got map line locked. Okay, so we got a path, and that shows my path that I drew out with the pen tool first. I drew up my pen tool, and then it's stroked. So as it goes, you can see it goes in strokes through my pen tool, and all those are the different spots along the line. And basically I have this is 26 seconds, and so I have it so where at each point it goes and takes its time and gets to each spot, which is pretty simple. So that's an easy one. Let's turn click off a path, and we got that on. Click back here, and we're going to go and now we see our path right here. Okay, so the other ones are the numbers and the numbers and the dots, and those are all created in a shape layer, and then I have each shape layer going on and off down here. So right now it starts with this one. So this one is the there's the map line, and then here's Floridian, which is the first dot. So we're going to start with the first dot on. Then I go down here, and the next blue one, see the next blue one is, the red is the dot, and then there's the number. Okay, so you can see that here's 1. So 1 is 1, and then Big Lagoon is the first dot. So basically you just create a shape layer and then put that dot on. I'll show you how I do that right now. Okay, so let's go in. Let's go shape layer, a layer, new shape layer. We're creating a new shape layer, and on that shape layer I'm going to draw a dot. Okay, so let's go ahead and go here. We're going to do an ellipse tool. Let's create a little dot. Let's make a small one. We want to hit the shift to make sure it stays round. Make it nice and small. It says zoom in here. Okay, so right now it's got a stroke of 30. We're going to change that to 10. And we're going to put the fill to blue or something like that. Okay. So that's in that shape layer. And if I turn that shape layer on and off, it goes on and off like that. Okay. So just to show you how this works. Here's that shape layer. Let's say we didn't want this to come on until the first second. So we move it down there, and then boom. Oops, do I have it on? Yeah, there it is. Okay. And then it comes on. You can see it comes on. Boop, boop. There's my little dot right there. So you can see, as soon as I click off of this, it comes on. So wherever I put this line right here, this is the layer visibility line, it'll go on. Now if I want it to go off, if I want it to go on and then off, roll to the top here, go to the end of the, and I would do like this. So I want it to just come on and go off, on and off. So that's how you create those shape layers. Put something on the shape, and I can do the same thing with the numbers. So I can put the number 1 here, and there you go. Okay, so we want the, let's say we want the dot to come on, and then we want the number to come on. Okay, so what we do is this, go to this, and 1. Well, blue's coming off, so let's keep 1 on here. Okay, so we got dot and 1. Just like that. So you create a shape layer, you move the layer visibility line to where you want it to come in and out, and then that's pretty easy. And then you have all your shape layer contents in here. You can do all kinds of transform, and you can you know, do anchor points and scale and do all kinds of crazy stuff with this stuff when it comes onto the layer. And to delete, I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to delete that one, and then we go back to our regular 26-second layer here, and we hit play. Okay, anytime, let's say I wanted to make this a shorter sequence, I just go to composition settings, and I go to composition settings, and I would just change this number right here. But anything after 6 seconds will get erased, so you have to be careful. Okay, let's go. Let's save this. Save this. Let's go to another one. Open recent. I want to go to trip to Utah animation. I think it's this one. No, this one right here. Now this one's a little different. So I had this one. I had taken that first composition. I had the line. I say that the line is down here. The map line is down here. So if I go out here, there's the map line. But I'm not going to do that. What I did in this one is I created a layer for each one of these map lines. And you'll see for each state. So I basically just created a layer. So I have one that has a layer for yes. Turn the yes on and off. There's Utah. And I got Utah State turning on and off. And then all that is a shape layer. And if you drill down into that shape layer, go into contents, go into shape, go to path, there's my path. And let's turn off the actual visibility, but you can see that. See, there's my path. If you turn on the visibility of the path, there you go. So you just create a shape layer, and then again, all I've done is moved the visibility for each shape layer in time. So I wanted them to come on one at a time as I go like that. And where's my last yes, which is, oh, my last yes is up here. Okay, gotcha. So it basically comes out, goes yes, starts off with yes, yes. So Mississippi, Louisiana, Dallas, Texas, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Phoenix, Arizona, and Utah. So that's a really simple one, just basically turning layers on and off, super simple. The other thing I forgot to mention was how these numbers right here are coming up really slowly. See, they start really small and then they grow big, and that's this red. These are these red layers right here, which are text layers. So what I have is we zoom into these text layers. Let's zoom in here. And we'll go down, we'll do a little drop down text, and we'll go down to transform. And you'll see down at transform, I have a little keyframe. So it starts on the keyframe right here. The scale is 6, and by the time it gets over to this keyframe, which is 3 keyframes away, now it's bigger. So go boop, boop, boop. So all I did was, moved my a layer here, my text right here. I hit a keyframe, and then I had it go to that. So this is this red line right here. So the layer starts to become visible here, right? And then right here, this first keyframe, it's small. So it's become visible but small. And then it goes, well, boom, boom, boom. And by the time it gets to the third keyframe, it's much bigger. And the easiest way to move around in with keyframes is to, let's see, it was add shift key, control right arrow, control left arrow moves 1 keyframe. Control right arrow moves 1 keyframe. So you can bounce around with, move 1 keyframe or 2 when you are trying to adjust some of these. So you grab that and you can go boom, boom, boom. And so if I want to bring it over 3 keyframes, I would go 1, 2, 3. then I would drag it over here, and I'd be 3 keyframes. So I hit Control Z and stop that. So that's one thing you know. The other thing I can do is hit Control Shift, and now we jump to 10 keyframes. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Just an easier way to move around the thing. But anyway, so that's how I created these animated numbers going up here, and they all seem to just bump up, bump up. You see each one of these text layers is coming up just a little bit before the dot. So you'll see that as the text layer comes up, it comes up first and then the dot. See, and then boom, dot. But that's how I did that with those layers in the text there. Now the other thing I want to do is go through some of the keyboard shortcuts. So one of the things I'd use a lot would be, let's say for instance, I got number 6 right here, and let's go here to number 6. Okay, we're at number 6. Let's say I wanted to duplicate number 6. So I click on number 6 and I hit Control and D, and then I get another one. Now it makes it 11 because that's the next one in line, but you'll see that it is a duplicate of 6. I'm going to delete that now. Just hit delete. Okay. So the other thing I want to go is U reveal frame property. So I click over here and I hit U, and it shows all of the layers that have a keyframe on it. This is U is reveal keyframe properties. And I hit U again, and it turns them all off. And then hit U again. So if I have this one, open, and I hit U, it'll show all those keyframe properties. So that's INO is front of the layer, first frame of the layer. O is last frame of the layer. J is first, going left to keyframes. J. K is going right on keyframes. Okay, one more cool thing I want to show working with Adobe After Effects and Premiere is to move the composition from Adobe After Effects to Premiere. So once I'm in Adobe After Effects and I have highlighted the eyeballs on the particular layers that I want active, like right now I want the truck moving and I want going from 1 to 12. And I want to bring that into Adobe Premiere. I want to put it into my timeline here. So what I'm going to do, go back to After Effects, and I'm going to grab this particular sequence, and I'm sorry, this composition. I'm going to drag it down to Premiere, and I'm going to drop it right in here. So right in there it's pink. Okay, so it's a composition. It's a composition. When I bring it into here, bring it into Premiere. Okay, so it plays in Premiere, and it plays 1 through 12. The cool thing is if I go back to After Effects and I change it, I don't want 1 through 12. I want, let's say, 68 to 74. So I turn on 68 to 74. Turn on 68 to 74 up here, and so you'll see on the screen 68 to 64 goes now, right? But if the cool thing is I go back to Premiere now you see it's 68 to 64. So it changes dynamically between the two programs when you're working with it. Now what you got to do is after you do that and you want, okay, that's the clip I want. So then I just basically go and I'm like right click, go up to render and replace, and basically it switches. You make sure you save it in the correct place. I'm actually going to save this in After Effects Map Teach. I select that, and when you hit OK, it renders that clip. It turns it into a rendered file, and then converts this clip now is a Now if I go and change it in After Effects, I go back, let's say I go back and change it, because right now Premiere it should be 6864. Right now we'll go back to After Effects, and we're going to go and we're going to switch back to 1 to 12. 1 to 12. 1 to 12. So it's playing 1 to 12 here in After Effects. Now we'll go back to Premiere. But Premiere is still playing at 6864 because I did replace and re-render. And now that clip is, you can move that clip wherever you want, and it will still be that clip. Now the cool thing is that it'll end up in your folders over here. I think this is it right here. It has Big Lagoon, your campground. So if I want, I could bring that other one back in again. Let's see if it's this one. Is it this one? No, it's this one. No. See, this one is the one. So this is the one that hasn't been re-rendered, and this one has. Usually they change colors, but I guess not. Okay, pretty cool. So that's one way of bringing a project that you're working on in After Effects, bring it back from, keep After Effects and Premiere open at the same time, and you could bring these clips backwards and forwards. Now, like right now I have this going across the country like that, right? So let's say I want to take this composition, which is the 1 through 10 animation, and I want to bring this into Premiere. So I drop it down into Premiere, bring it into here, and there it is right there. Bring it into here. For some reason it didn't let me. Okay, I brought it in. This is my 26-second animation. But let's say, for instance, let's go back to After Effects and let's turn off number 7. So 7 doesn't come up. Just to show you how dynamic it is. So now when we go and click our numbers, 7 doesn't show. We don't get 7. And I can go back into After Effects, and dynamically I could turn off 6 and 5 and 4. And I'll go back to Premiere. And 6 and 5 and 4 are gone. So it's dynamic like that. But what I can do is, now I can go render and replace. Now here are the rendered clips actually in Premiere that I actually added to this project. But these are the ones that I created in After Effects, dragged over to Premiere, and did render and replace in Premiere. And this is the final result, a rendered After Effects clip in Adobe Premiere.